Welcome back to my channel. I thought I would come on real quick because I have, I guess you could say it's a question, or rather some advice or what have you. My daughter, my eldest daughter, is 5 now, and I'm trying to figure out how to introduce her to Wicca or Paganism, to explain to her certain things. But at the same time, I want, she's very much like a sponge, and she absorbs very quickly information. However, what I don't want is for her to go out and talk about these things, say in school or what have you, because I don't want her to feel alienated. I don't want them to look down upon her. I think I really wouldn't have had this concern too much if I lived back in New York, but here it's pretty much part of the Bible Belt. I mean, there's like a church every other block out here. So I don't want my beliefs to impact her in a negative way. But yet I do want to teach her about it. And I want her to grow up understanding that it's okay. That while this may not be mainstream, and I'm sorry for the camera moving so much. I'm holding the phone and moving around, so I'm sorry about that. But even though this belief is not mainstream, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with having your own sense of spirituality. And I very much want her to grow up being a spiritual person, or at least being exposed to it, to spirituality in general, so that when she is old enough, she can make her own decision as to what path she wants to follow, even if it may not be a spiritual path. But I very much want her to make that decision on her own when she gets older. But for now, I would like to at least expose her to my path and have her understand that there's nothing wrong with it, that also different paths or different faiths or spiritualities, they are not wrong. There is no right answer. There is no wrong answer. That they're all have validity in their own right. So I have a few books. Like I have Circle Round, and I have Pagan Parenting, and there's another one, Family Wicca maybe, or something like that. I don't know. I have been looking up some books that I want to buy. One especially, and I wish I can remember the name of it, but I like that it has activities in there for kids. But if there's any books or even maybe websites or things like that that any of you could suggest, I would greatly appreciate that. I just want her to have the knowledge, I would like for her to be a spiritual person. However, if she gets older and decides that's not for her, then that's fine. But I would like to at least start her on a spiritual path of some sort. And although I am the only pagan in the house, my husband is Christian, and so is his son, for all intents and purposes, although his son doesn't identify with any religion per se. My husband doesn't either, but he does hold to the belief in Jesus and into the belief of the one God and things like that. So I am not adverse to her learning about that either. And I think if she does learn about it, again, it would be through me. My husband is not a spiritual person. He does not practice in any way. He just believes that. And I think it's mainly because that's what he was taught to believe. So that's what he believes. But he doesn't practice it in any way. Even the religious holidays, we observe because it's tradition more than anything else, not so much for the religious implications of it. Like Christmas is coming up, and we don't observe Christmas as the birth of Christ per se. Let me not speak for him. I see it as a time of great love and compassion. I find that people in general tend to be nicer around this holiday, which is why it's one of my favorite holidays. The time of Yule and Christmas, that winter solstice time, it tends to be a very compassionate time. Even when I was in New York, living in New York, I really noticed that, for all of what people think about us New Yorkers, that we are rough and crass, and that may be true to a certain extent, but that time of year, I remember just walking in the street, and you could feel the compassion between the lights and the decorations of the streets, and just people just seemed to be in a better cheer. It's amazing. And I want her to understand, especially now during this holiday, I want her to understand the importance of this. Also, that this isn't a trait that we just want to show during this time of year. This is something we want every day. So I want to get her to understand the importance of a lot of these holidays, not just the religious implications, but what it means spiritually, what it means as an individual, what these holidays mean. I have a difficult time trying to convey this to her. Not that I've tried and she doesn't understand. It's I don't know how. Where should I begin, or how should I voice this to her? But it really is, the not knowing how really doesn't stem from not knowing how to explain it. More so, how do I explain it in such a way that if she does talk to others about it, it won't seem odd to them, so that they in turn don't start to treat her differently, I wish I could get in touch with other pagans out in this area. I know there are some. I just don't have a way to really meet and greet per se. I have found some pagan groups out here online, but they have meet and greets, but I am not able to go to them, mainly because of the kids, and I don't drive. And my husband's hours, sometimes he gets off of work late, or the times in which they meet, I wouldn't be able to, because like I said, I don't drive, therefore I don't have a car to get there. So I rely on my husband to get around, even though he's supposed to be teaching me to drive this year. But in New York, I have never had a need for a license. We have public transportation, which is great. So I've never really delved into the whole driving thing, So, but hopefully at some point, and once I do get my license, it would be easier on me. But right now, I really, especially after having the baby, I really wouldn't want to, because I want to remain close to home and I want to remain near them. So like I said, if anyone has any advice or any recommendations on books or websites or things like that, things that would also help me explain to my daughter, activities for her would be great. She loves activities. She's like a sponge, like I said, and she loves to read, and she loves to do projects and, things of that nature. So I think I'm gonna purchase that book today. It's around the holidays, and I've spent way too much on decorations and on presents. Like I said, I have a lot of things that I need to replace from the old house that got ruined, and I was able to save my crystals, which majority of them. There were a few that did get left behind that I could not. They were in the bedroom, and I just couldn't get to them. So, but the majority of them I do have, and they're in this box here. This is just a regular box, and I bought like a bookcase, which I'm going to set up as an altar. I think I'm going to set it up as like a multi-tiered altar. I don't know. But there is a new deity that has made his way into my life. I've been reading up a lot on him, and I have not really worked with him. I did call upon him today, more of a, I wish to recognize you, and honor you and things like that, and kind of thing. Not, like in ritual or magic or any spell or anything like that. But once I get more comfortable with that, I'll probably do a video on who the deity is and things like that. But we'll see what goes, what happens for now. But in the meantime, I also, this deity is a moon deity as well. He's a moon, associated with the moon, as is Isis. So I use this covering, this cloth that I had, which is purple, and I love it because it's like iridescent, kind of. I don't know if you can tell on here, but it's purple and has stars and moons on it. So I used this. In this bowl, I had an offering of incense burning to both deities, as they both like Kafai incense, and I'm probably saying that wrong. I have this candle, which you probably remember from before. I rededicated it, empowered it with energies of love and happiness and peace, which are all things I want to bring to my home and to my family. So I lit that here, and I have like my peace stone and happiness. This one is blue goldstone, I think. Yeah. I think this was a blue goldstone. I'm not 100%. Well, I think so. That's happiness. This is just a stone. And with peace engraved in it. And I have my amethyst and quartz back there. And to really enhance the idea of love, the energies of love, I have 2 rose quartz here. And I have this malachite to help connect with Isis. Malachite is one of her stones. I did just buy this bowl, though, on Amazon. And I have my tile here, which is kind of hot, as is the bowl, because I was burning the incense in there. And the tile is one I've had for years. It's the one with the triquetra symbol on it. So I used this setting. Basically, I was just trying to connect with deity. And I used one of the prayers. I'm actually going to try doing, and I don't remember if I said it before, but I have this book of 39 days of prayer on my Kindle. I don't know if you can see that there. 39 days of prayer. And I thought that would be a good way to get back into my practice. I don't know if I intend to do the whole 39 days, but there are a lot of good prayers in this book. And so I started out with the first day today. And so that's what I had finished doing. And then I just sat in contemplation of, raising the energies of love and peace and happiness in my home and with my family. So I want this new home to be a place of joy, a haven. So I do still have some of my statues, though. I was able to save a lot of them. there are a lot of new things I do need to get eventually. I'm not, worrying about it now. When they need to come into my life, they will, and I'll accept them then, but I won't rush it until then. So, but I think that's really it, because it's almost time for me to pick my daughter up from the bus stop. So, but any advice, and like I said, book suggestions or websites or things like that, or even activities, would be greatly appreciated. If you can leave them in the comments below, that would be great. You can, I don't know how the messaging works on Google Plus. I still haven't figured this thing out yet. So, whatever. But yes, so that's it for now. And that's it. I wish you all love and happiness. Blessed be.